What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another trade recap. Today is October 16. Today is October 16. So trade recap. There was actually no trade taken today because today went against our bias and it went against our analysis. If we look at the weekly here on SPX, I forgot to do this weekend. I was a little busy and didn't have the time to do it yesterday. So there was no pre-market analysis. I did watch a 2-hour analysis video in pre-market analysis with ICT for his live stream. He covered NQ, ES, the ES contracts, the NQ contracts. He reviewed, the euro dollar to USD. He reviewed the pound dollar to the USD. He reviewed DXY. So a bunch of currencies, a bunch of stuff like that. And obviously, as you guys know, if you guys have been updated with the news, is the the war in the Middle East. So that's inflicting price, right? Because there's oil, and oil's, with money and all that stuff. So the dollar moves very bizarrely. Dollar can move up and down in a matter of seconds, and price can shoot up or down in the matter of seconds. So price is very unpredictable during these times. That's why trading is 10 times more risky. Always has been risky, but now it's even more riskier when you're trading when there's two wars going on at the moment. So either than that, let's go ahead and get into the analysis of what is going on in the S&P 500 index on the 1 week chart. We've already covered the 1 month. If obviously we are bearish in the 3 months, obviously 3 months is going to be bearish. The month here currently bearish, and then the 1 week here. I would have liked to see a open under this high and maybe a close down here. If you look, this is the first week right here that we had such a big move up into this week's high that it is very concerning. It's a very bullish move up already, even though we want it to be bearish. And I believe that is due to part-time the war and news, because today we had Empire State Manufacturing Index. The forecast of this was, the previous price was 1.6. And the forecast for this previous price was negative 6.4. And the actual price was negative 4.6. That is a big difference. That is very high impact news right there. And if you drop down, you can say usual effect. The actual price, which is here, if greater than forecast, which is right here, so it's not greater than forecast, but let's say it was 7, is good for currency. So if it was 7, it'd be good for currency. If it's good for currency, that means DXY goes up. That means SPX goes down. But the problem is this was bad for currency. So that means that DXY went down, right? And that means that SPX went up. That's why we had such a bullish move today, right? Coming down into our, I'm going to unhide this weekly analysis that we have. As you guys can probably notice already, we have a weekly fair value gap here marked in orange. There's a lot of stuff going on because I had some daily analysis that I haven't deleted yet. But there's a daily or weekly fair value gap, my bad. Weekly fair value gap here. Is this the consequent? Oh, wait, no. We have the consequent encroachment, if I'm not wrong, of this fair value gap, which is right at this high. So I'm just going to mark this high as consequent encroachment, which is also the previous week high. As you can see, this was our previous week low, previous week high, and we have our previous month low right here. Okay. Obviously my daily bias would have been this previous week low, if not this liquidity that was in this wick. And how I determine that is I take the top or the close all the way down to the bottom of this wick. That's the consequent encroachment. And then what I can do is I can actually do the range here and get a few more levels of this wick, and that would be my take profits all the way to this previous week low, right? So weekly, we actually opened bullish. We had the bullish news, which I was waiting for that. I could have actually traded the news, but the timing was bad. It was like smack down right in the middle of my class. And like I said, I hate to trade when I'm in school because I don't have time to watch the news. I don't have time. Like I have to stay focused this year. Like I can't just do like last year where I just don't pay attention the whole class and just watch trades. I have to do both at the same time, and that's very hard to stay consistent like that. So most of my analysis, most of my analysis goes, when I get home and when I have time to do these kind of videos. That's when I, put in the most times right after homework. I get straight to the charts and start studying. So again, we have our weekly fair value gap here that we have obviously traded into with this previous week. Now we open in this week, we trade. The consequent encroachment of this fair value gap, we're going to say, is just a tad bit higher than here, just so you guys can see again. Consequent encroachment is the bottom of this wick to the top of this wick, right? 0.5 consequent encroachment is right under the previous day high right here. Okay, previous week high, my bad. So right under there is the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap. Our trade idea would be that price, obviously in the next 2 days or 1 day, hopefully tomorrow, comes and grabs the consequent encroachment, and if possible sweeps this previous week high to then see a continuation lower. As ICT said, we allow for horseshoes, and what that means is that, for example, this weekly fair value gap down here, we had this bearish candle that came down, and as you can see, you want to see price respect this level right here, this closing level, this bottom fair value gap level. In this little part right here, I'll hide it for you guys. This little tiny, oh wait, forgot we had this on. This tiny part right here, let me make it a little more clear for you guys. Okay. This part of the wick down here, you see that orange part of the wick? That's called a horseshoe. So that actually went below the bottom of the consequent of the fair value gap, and we allow that. We allow for price to do that because, as you can see, as I marked out, there was an order block there that was obviously swept and used as support. But we allow for that horseshoe to happen because ultimately price actually came all the way back up, bought it all the way, respected these levels, and came higher. Okay. And that's what happened. So, yeah. So we're looking for a move higher on the weekly. I'm gonna drop down to the daily just so you guys can see. I'm gonna delete this for now. So there's a lot of things to cover real quick. As you can see, there is previous week low, and I had put a target yesterday, and I believe this is my notes. Let me just pull it up real quick. Let me pull up my notes. Boom, boom, boom. Let me go to SPX. SPX. Okay, so I had this, as you can see, 15. So this was yesterday. This was the notes, right? So this was on the daily. So on the daily, you see how this comes into play perfectly, right? So it comes in this fair value gap, probably hits consequent encroachment right about here, hits another fair value gap, gets rejected, comes down, comes down, comes down. And now we close the week there. This is the previous week low, and now what we're expecting is a move higher into some kind of fair value gap here, or even this rejection of this fair value gap on a week or on a lower down move, right? Did we get that? No. SPX, this was the 1 hour potential move. What ended up happening, as you will quickly notice, is that this is obviously a balanced price range, and this was our first target, was the OTA level of the swing high to the swing low. And that's exactly where I thought price was going to nicely converge back down to being bearish. Unfortunately, news kind of ran us off, as you can probably tell. That's why I said news took over. No trades went against bias, right? Duh. Let's jump out to the 4 hour, maybe on the 1 hour. 1 hour, not too much. Again, previous week high right about here. And there's a lot of lines in the middle. I'll explain what those are. Now, I marked this blue line as a run of liquidity or drawn liquidity right after this balanced price range was taken. As you can see, just on the 4 hour, you can see how and why this was formed, right? As you can tell, there was this swing high, swing low, so obviously the OT levels. But even if you had the OT levels set there, it really didn't mean a lot because price didn't respect anything, and it actually used it as support to push higher. So I'm actually wondering, right, when I believe it's supposed to be, I think today it can probably, or tomorrow it can probably take out this previous week low, and then I would just like to see how price reacts. Are we actually pushing higher? Because consequent encroachment should be like right around here. So are we pushing higher than consequent encroachment, taking this previous week high and then coming all the way back down to this previous week low? Or are we going to push even higher and fill this weekly fair value gap? That is something I would like to see for tomorrow and Wednesday's price action. Remembering that we do have high impact news tomorrow with core retail sales, and we have nothing on Wednesday. So I'd be excited to see what would be happening on Wednesday. Let's move on to the 1 hour. Let's go here. As you can notice, there's this balanced price range, which was formed with this bullish fair value gap here of, oops, there it is, this up closing wick of this candle right here, and this wick, or the bottom of this wick of this candle right here, which created a bullish fair value gap. So what we would like to see is this bearish price action respect this. Unfortunately, it went right through, which means that this fair value gap is now a balanced price range because it has two fair value gaps overlapping, and this is the more accurate zone. As you can see from this wick, it is very accurate. This wick here, the high of this wick is 43.52.3, and this low of this wick is 43.52.2. 43, 52.3, 53, yeah, okay, so one takeaway. All right, so this balanced price range, as we noted in our notes, as you guys just saw, what? Wow, okay, I just had amazing news from my dad. So yeah, OT levels didn't hold up. The bias for today, the bearish bias, was mitigated to a bullish bias, and obviously price kind of ran through with news. If there was no news, I think it'd be a whole different story, but you have to understand, like, you have to look at this displacement, and this is scary, man. This is like, you can't just trade right through this with no reaction. Like, there is no, I don't see a single bearish candle here respecting this price action. So there needs to be some kind of price action that respects or comes back down to this fair value gap. Now, obviously, a balanced price range, if you really put it like this, boom, okay, that's your price range right there. That price wants to come back down. Obviously, comes back down here to use as support. So, with that being said, what happened is we went bullish, right? We opened, or actually we got our news around 8, and then we opened at 9, and this is exactly what happened, which could have been a trade opportunity. If you hop onto the 30-minute, I like to chart everything on the 30-minute when it comes to news like this. Obviously, what just happened? I'm sorry, guys. Someone is screaming outside my house. Anyways, who cares? We don't give a fuck about other people. 8:30 right here. Okay, so 8:30 was the news release. Obviously very bullish. Even if we go on the DXY real quick on the 1 hour. Wow, that is bright as fuck. Holy shit, that looks way darker on my phone. We can see 8:30. You can obviously the at 8 on the 1 hour, you could see this. Obviously, you can tell if you're looking at DXY on the 30-minute, news come out right here. You can tell where news comes out. Easily tell out. Boom, 8:30, news pops off, and then the rest is history. Right, all the way up. It ran all the way up. Right. Wait a minute. Wait, why didn't SPX go down? Wait, SPX went up. Oh, wait, yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. Wait, am I tripping? Actual greater than forecast is good for currency. It's less than currency, which means it's bad for currency, which means that it should go down. The XY should be going down. Why is it? Okay, so this was some clear manipulation of some kind. DXY is supposed to go down, not up. I don't know what happened. Anyways, price comes up, and what I did was in this blue area, I marked out where the news displacement is, right? Because that's always huge displacement. That's always where price wants to come back down. Most of the time is where displacement happens when news happens, right? So we have this candle at 8:30 that opens. The displacement is from this wicks high to this wicks low in the blue area marked right here. And what I do next, right, is I go to the 15-minute and I see, okay, is there another wick or another wick? Is there another fair value gap or anything like that could be more accurate, right? At the moment, no. Is there? Oh yeah, this is for the 1 hour. So the 1 hour here. This is kind of hard to time, but if you look, this candle opened at 9, right? And if you go down to the 15-minute, the low that we made here was 9:30. And so this candle created this 1 hour fair value gap right here, as you can see, boom. And that created that fair value gap, and it basically used the fair value gap that it created as support. 15-minute coming down again. It came into this 30-minute news displacement, tapped into its own fair value gap that it just created, and bounced right off. Now the thing is, I wouldn't have taken a trade off here. You could have with a tight stop loss or whatever. But now that people are trading with real money, and I might even start trading with real money at one point, these tight stop loss stuff, I realize it just doesn't work. You have to have some kind of set strategy that needs to work, not every single day, but there needs to be some kind of strategy that you're implementing, right? Because me drawing out fair value gaps left and right is not going to help me. That doesn't help me at all. Like, yeah, sure, there's a fair value gap here. Maybe you use it. Maybe you draw your OT level. Maybe that's cool. Maybe your fib helps you here and there. But not every level is going to hold up because maybe you don't have your bias right. Maybe you don't know the news around the world. Maybe you just don't know how to trade. Maybe that's the fucking reality. Maybe that's it. Maybe all you need to do is trade trend lines, and then you make your money. Anyways, price ended up breaking this balanced price range where we can now kind of delete. So we target this buy side liquidity up here with this blue line. And then what I have done is, I believe this is on the 1 hour. Yes. So the 1 hour, I had a 1 hour consequent encroachment of this wick, right? Because this is theoretically, basically, this is an order block. And you could, okay, mark out the whole order block itself like this, something like this, right? And you can see that price respects, right? But what I'm really interested in is, does it go to the consequent encroachment of this wick, right? So you apply a range. Obviously, I'm going to delete a few things in the range here. So we don't need the 0. We don't need this. We don't need this, right? So the consequent encroachment of this range, and I'll even put it to like yellow so you can really see it. Consequent encroachment of this range is right here, right? And this range is from the open to the top of the wick. That's the order block consequent encroachment of that range. That's obviously buy side. As you can see, price respects that range pretty nicely. Okay, so that to me that indicates that it's that we're respecting price. Okay. The second consequent encroachment, I believe, if I'm not wrong, came for this daily fair value gap right here. So obviously we're in this weekly fair value gap, but inside this weekly fair value gap, we're coming inside this range right here of this daily fair value gap. Okay. Obviously, we have rejected first off this fair value gap here. But now I want to know, is price going to stop at consequent encroachment of this fair value gap? And it's right there. So the body close of this candle, the daily candle, is actually under our fair value gap, or our fair value gap consequent encroachment, right? Two yellow lines right here create that perfect zone, as you can see, that it just kind of just stays in for a few with these wicks, and that's where we close with accumulation. Or actually, this is all fucking, oh fuck, what's it called? Not accumulation. Yeah, accumulation. This is all accumulation. It's chop basically. It's all chop. So we can start deleting these because we don't need these anymore. Let's talk about next week. I would like to see, or next week. What am I talking about? Next week. No, not next week. I would like to see tomorrow. I would like to see, we're going to lower this a little bit. Actually, no, before we even get to that, let's check out ES. Let's see what ES has done. Okay, yes, so this was, oh, this is actually even better. Wow, look at this. So, again, use took over, right? Went against their buys. And what ICT said on ES was actually very smart. He had this daily fair value gap marked out. So again, weekly fair value gap, this was on SPX 2. And then I took the range of this weekly fair value gap, drew it out. And we had the 0.25 level at 4411.25, which actually rejected the wick quite perfectly right there. And the consequent encroachment of this weekly fair value gap, price last week did not quite reach into that. So I would be biased for tomorrow or for the next 2 days that price not only takes out this previous week high, but it also takes out that consequent encroachment and maybe trades up into it and has a little horseshoe and comes back down. That would be acceptable. Although what I'm seeing from and what I'm hearing from ICT and from what I'm seeing and from what I've learned is that this looks really bullish. Huge bullish up, like even on the weekly, man, huge bullish up. Like, why are we just coming? The only time I'd see this come really down is that it fills this weekly fair value gap and it fully comes down, because we could come off the consequent encroachment, but that means that you're leaving this space right here that I know damn well it just wants to fill. I don't know. I was bearish, but now my bias might just be bullish. I have to see for tomorrow. And when I go over my analysis tonight. So, ICT had this daily fair value gap marked out. And as he said, right, the horseshoe right here is fine. This is fine, because what happened is that it actually traded in this range right here that he had marked out, and it traded into the wick range, had a bunch of things, and it actually closed right above the consequent encroachment of this wick, bullish wick, and this was fine. And we allow for that. So we traded back in that fair value gap and boosted off. So even if you look at the 1 hour, it makes sense that this fair value gap was used as support to now break off these highs. I also had this blue like bearish fair value gap marked out. I'm pretty sure this was on ES2. This is NQ. Right, so we had this marked out, and then ES had this fair value gap. And at first, when you look at this, this looks like a clear, okay, coming back down, targeting these lows. But then when you see the actual chart, it's coming back down, and it actually went into this fair value gap and bounced right back up, right? Now, let me change this to blue, just so you guys can see, because I'm nice for you guys. Obviously, buy side is targeted in this opinion, or in this trade, because of this weekly or this hourly fair value gap that is completely disrespected. Actually, could probably use it now as some kind of balanced price range, but the thing is that it's such a big gap that I'm now looking for a bullish fair value gap that was created here. Not supportly. I don't really like this 1 hourly fair value gap. It's a little wonky. Obviously targeted buy side liquidity, and as you can see, it actually stops right here at this. I'll mark it for you guys, and I know exactly which level it is. It's the 0.25 level right here, and it perfectly stops price from pushing higher, and that was the level of this weekly fair value gap. So you can see just right off the bat, right, that ICT concepts work, right? The Fibonacci tool like this works, and it works, and this proves to us that right now, when we close off on this day, that price was respecting this weekly PD array, and it's respecting its levels. So if it doesn't want to push higher, it's got to come back down first to grasp some kind of fair value gap, some kind of liquidity, to ultimately push a little higher. Now, it is a good sign that we have taken out this buy side and we've stayed above, right? We've basically just closed at the same level here at this buy side, which is really good on the daily. Even if you look at the daily, right, shows a very strong bullish action. And I believe our next strong liquidity would be this high right here. So that's our next strong liquidity for the daily, right? If that makes sense, then that is perfect. I will just put this back to the range. Boom. Okay. I'm going to keep this how it is because I don't want to touch this chart. QQQ, I have not looked at QQQ. It probably has done some wild stuff. Oh, so it just reacted off this 30-minute fair value gap around this consequent encroachment of the sus, or the swing low to the swing high. Okay, so I'm guessing we took the OT levels of this and we marked it off. Okay, yeah, see, perfectly. Wow, damn, that was could have actually taken a trade on QQQ. Yeah. So fair value gap around this area. I mean, hey, this works. This is just more proven work that this works. It's a lot to look at, but I know exactly what I'm looking at. I just don't want to explain it to you guys because right now QQQ is not important to you guys. DXY, again, I have no clue why it went up. Should have gone down, to be honest. NQZ, so these are the contracts. This is what ICT had on his chart. A little confusing to me at first, but it looks like I understand it now. We had, let's see, weekly, anything on the weekly here did we have? Okay, we have this huge monthly fair value gap right here with the consequent encroachment and the range. I'm going to delete that for now. I mean, monthly bounced off perfectly, but we have previous week high right here, previous week low right there. Again, we're aiming, actually NQ might, you know what I'm thinking? NQ might actually sweep. I don't think NQ will come higher. I think all it needs is literally one little tiny day to just sweep this, come in here, grab some liquidity, and just come right back down. I don't think it needs a whole another 2 days to grab this liquidity. I don't even know if it's, I really don't know. This is really setting us up for, because this was CPI, no? Like, this was really like, whew, we really went high with this one. And then there was, yeah, daily fair value gap here that we rejected off here. So, I don't know. Do we did we come back down into it or what? Like, I don't know. Up here, let's look. We have this what is it, daily? Fuck. A weekly fair value gap. Okay, so weekly range right here. So in this weekly range, as you can see, we basically almost did it today. We almost filled it today. It's like all we need is literally a 4-hour candle to just be bullish, and we filled that weekly fair value gap on NQ, which would be beautiful, and it would mean that possibly having bearish action on QQQ could impact SPX. But then again, if price shoots up, then, you know, SPX shoots up and whatever, you know what I mean? So that could also be controversial. Again, let's get back on track. I'm getting off track. We have this 1 hour fair value gap marked in blue here. As you can see, price respects it so far, and then it kind of shoots back up, comes into this price. Obviously, it respects these levels like very, like to the dot, like this high right here of this candle right here. The high is 15,209.50, 15,209.50. And the low of this is the exact same. So to the tick. And I love when that happens because I love fair value gaps. So when that happens, right, bullish price up, and then we have this, I just marked out the whole fucking body of this 1 hour order block. Couldn't really find another order block set up here. So the whole body of this order block marked out pretty precisely, I would hope, and respected pretty nicely. So now what I'm expecting is obviously there's displacement here. So I'll just do some quick analysis really quickly, right? Obviously, 4 hour, there is a fair value gap right here. So we're just going to mark that out real quick. Boom, boom, fair value gap marked. I'm just going to put this over here so we don't get distracted. 3 hour, is there anything? No. 2 hours, is there anything? No. 1 hour, is there anything? No. 30 minute, is there anything? I'm hoping to see something in the 30 minute. No, there's nothing. Is there a 15 minute something? 5 minute? Really? How's this going down to the 3 minute? Oh my god, these levels. This is the only fair value gap I see is this. Right. And then what I like to do is go back to the 1 hour. And I'm hoping that price respects this and that it kind of chops around. But then you would take the OT level of this swing low, obviously huge swing low to this huge swing high. And you would hope, look at that a fair value gap lines up with your OT levels. Let's see if this lines up with a fib. I was going to say this fair value gap is going to line up with the fib, but the fib doesn't usually hold strong in these moves. I like to use the OT because that's really where price wants to go, is really sweep all that liquidity that's down there, right? Because it wants to go lower to go higher. And what's around there, boom, that 3 minute fair value gap. And I will see if I will come back tomorrow. I don't know, man. Because this, right, tomorrow we could be bearish to come down and grab all this liquidity and grab these fair value gaps. We could 100% be bearish tomorrow, or we could 100% do this aftermarket, sweep all of this, come down aftermarket, pre-market, even pre-market, and then be bullish on NQ tomorrow. And if that happens, I would be 100%. I'm going to actually put this in my notes real quick so we don't forget. I would be 100% bullish on NQ tomorrow if any of that happened tomorrow. Let me do this, right? NQ, what's today? 10, 16, 23. Oh, wait, no, it's 16, 23. Boom. Paste that in there. Okay, was fucking nothing spacing, dude. I'm gonna fucking kill myself. I'm gonna play dumb. There you go. Alright. That's gonna be it. That's all my analysis I have. That's all the trade recap I have. I gotta upload this video. I'm actually doing this while I'm supposed to do my college research and shit. So that shows you the dedication. So I hope you guys learned something, and I hope I learned something, because I'm not gonna lie, it sounds dumb as fuck. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.